Mic check, mic check. Mic check, mic check.
Good morning. If you're just joining us, we are getting open practice underway right now to get the day kicked off. Conditions are less than desirable. It is very cold today. It's going to make it for quite the challenge today with these tires. They're pretty much just going to be cold all day long. And we'll start motos here shortly, so stay tuned.
Good morning and welcome to the 2023 North American Supermoto Shootout. Right now we have our open practice going on. Due to the less than desirable conditions today, we just went ahead and opened up the track since both Asphalt and the Supermoto classes are running the same layout. So right now we have a combination of some of our Asphalt Only riders and also our Pro Supermoto and some of the amateurs out here right now as well, just getting familiar with the track conditions today.
Yeah, that's right, Traven. These guys are just wanting to get their bikes kind of set up, make sure nothing's changed overnight, and ready to race. We're going to start with the Open Pro today, Moto 2, so we get those guys out of the way, and everyone's got a good show to watch before they start leaving. Now, all these guys have got a long drive home this evening because they came from very far away. We got people from Washington, people from Canada, Alaska. It's quite the turnout, really, considering the conditions.
On screen here, we have the 298 of Sergio Di Malfetta and the 22 of Jan Borsier out there just getting warmed up, getting familiar with the track conditions. The temperature is actually quite a bit cooler today, so the lack of traction from yesterday might be even worse today.
Yeah, these guys are just going to be in survival mode today for sure. They have to race the track, and they've got to, first of all, beat the track to beat anybody else. So it's about staying upright and not crashing.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, especially later in the motos with these cooler temperatures. It looks like, you know, keeping your hands warm will be a problem and things like that. So it'll be interesting to see, you know, who can kind of persevere through the conditions and rise to the top.
Absolutely.
On screen here, the 227. We saw him quite a bit yesterday, so he's quite familiar with these wet conditions, so we'll see what he can do with the cooler temperatures.
There's Shane Arbone that just went by.
Yeah, he had some adversity to face yesterday, getting off to a bad start, so we saw him early out on track this morning, so you wonder if maybe that bike had an issue and he's out just making sure it's all sorted out so he can give it his best today.
Yeah, and if I'm thinking right, he has to win the second moto today to have any chance of taking home the gold, considering that third place finish yesterday. He's got some stiff competition.
Yeah, absolutely. Jake LaForge was on fire yesterday with the whole shot and just kind of ran away with it with a comfortable lead. So we'll see what Jake can do from the pole position again today. You see him there on screen getting a little loose in the last turn. Again, these guys are just feeling the traction and trying to see where the limit is without maybe pushing it too far over the edge and ending up on the ground themselves.
That's a good shot there. I like that angle you got there.
There's Jake through turn 2. He had a big moment on the first lap of the race yesterday, right through that same turn. You saw Shane Narbone there just doing a practice start, seeing if the launch control and everything is sorted out on his bike. But the conditions are very slick, so he just spun that rear tire.
Your camera 4.
The 312 of Anthony Franco, he had a great showing in the Asphalt Only class yesterday and also the vet class.
Yeah, he rode good yesterday, and Anthony Franco, he is a veteran of the sport. He's been doing this for very, very long. He's got a whole family of Supermoto racers, and it's really impressive to see them. They've got 2 daughters that race, a wife that races, and Anthony himself.
Yeah, that whole family just breathes motorsports. It's really cool to see, and they're from the New England area, so I'm sure they're kind of familiar to these cold and rainy conditions, but you know, it's another animal out there.
Yeah, this is definitely not what these guys are used to riding in, and I'm sure they're not really excited about it, but everyone's racing the same track today, and everyone was in pretty good spirits this morning during the riders' meeting. Looks like these guys are on their final lap of practice. If you can see there's the white flag is out, the white lights there in the center there. It lets these riders know that Practice will be over shortly, probably their last lap on the track.
Yeah, that lighting system you mentioned, Kenny, that's from Track Systems North America. They're one of the sponsors of the series here at NAS. It's a really cool system to see. You can see now it's green. We can change it to white, yellow, you know, if there's a downed rider in that area of the track. It flashes, you know, just like you see there on screen. So it's a really cool system that they have there to kind of help these riders stay heads up and as safe as possible. There on screen in the red leathers is the 144 of Andrew Millier. We saw Andrew with quite a good performance yesterday. He was on the ground pretty hard, but got up and still did a great job after having quite a bad get off.
Yeah, it was a very impressive ride by him, and he's an excellent asphalt rider, as you could see yesterday. And it was impressive to see him race with these boys. There went Charlie Buffum just went through screen, and he won Moto 1 yesterday in the Pro Lights, and with a commanding lead. He looked very well on the motorcycle yesterday. There goes Shane on his last lap of practice for the day. He's hoping to get a better start today in Moto 2.
Yeah, you can see Shane's been out there pretty much the whole session, so maybe just a little frustrated with what happened yesterday, trying to get as familiar with the track conditions as he can to try and get comfortable out there, to try and put on a charge.
You can see Shane there have a little bit of a bobble, getting on the gas a little early. And you can see how slick it is today. We're trying to get a camera on. Maybe we have riders going down and pit out, not even to the track yet. It's so slick today.
Camera 1 with the dirty lens, it'd be nice if you got turn 1, turn 2, that area a little bit more often, because camera 3 is getting the
On screen there, the bright yellow wheels, the 929 at Charlie Buffum out of Peoria, Illinois, and there's the 144 of Andrew Millier.
I like that. I like those drops.
It sounds like they just made the announcement that this will be the final lap for practice, so these boys can get ready for their first moto of the day. Stay tuned. of the screen is Charlie Buffum. Bright yellow wheels. Looks like he might have a trash bag as a raincoat today. And these guys are doing their best to stay warm today. Some of them will be bundled up in hoodies and not in their typical moto gear that they typically wear. And there's Shane Arboen. I keep saying this is his last lap, but he's really trying to get everything out of this practice session.
Yeah, you can see the blinking light there. That means the checkered flag is out. So this will be these guys' last lap. But you are right, Kenny. Shane's out there. Even on his cool-down lap, it looks like he's still kind of pushing and trying to find everything he can.
Yeah, he really wants that ring today.
Yeah, Kenny, that ring you're speaking of, that's going to be the, I guess, the cup, if you will, that these guys are going for. The championship ring provided by TDFJ. So TDFJ.com providing our championship rings for our pro classes here today. Charlie Buffum's looking good to get himself one in the pro lights class.
Yeah, and I really like that idea with the ring. It's pretty unique. And you don't see that often. Usually it's just a trophy, a cool-looking trophy or something. This is something they can wear on the daily, and people just randomly can ask them about it and start conversation to, maybe help even grow this sport.
Yeah, you also see the Metzler banners on screen there. Metzler's going to be the official tire of the North American Supermoto Shootout. All right, and we have about a 5-minute break right now while our racers get topped up with gas and tire pressure set, bikes ready for the races today. So in the meantime, I'm going to read off. If you guys aren't familiar with the way that the North American Supermoto Shootout there works, there we are here in the booth. But so what happened, if you're familiar with like Loretta Lynn's and the way that amateur motocross race works, there were multiple qualifying races throughout the country, and these racers raced in their regional race to qualify to come here to Oklahoma to the shootout. So our affiliate groups that put on those qualifying events were SMEC, Supermoto East Coast, Colorado Supermoto, Cascadia Supermoto, and Supermoto Quebec. So we have riders all the way from Canada, Washington area, the New England area. We've got a pretty good group from the Colorado series, so it's really cool to see everybody coming together here for this shootout.
Johnny Bang here. We got to actually visit, I think, 2, maybe even 3 shootouts, and the turnouts were awesome. So awesome. I think I had 4 qualifiers. I qualified in 4 classes. Only ran 1, but overdid it a little bit. But I'm not even racing today, so there's that. Yeah, the Loretta Lynn's of dirt bikes. We'll ask Miley Cyrus to sponsor us, maybe.
Yes. You see the 191 bike there. I believe that's Jeff's bike from Toxic Moto. Toxic Moto is providing all the trackside support here for these racers. So tire changes. Everybody was scrambling yesterday morning to get their rain tires put on because we were expecting kind of rain later in the day, but it surprised us early in the morning. So everybody was scrambling to get over to the Toxic Moto trailer and get their rain tires put on.
Yeah, if you guys ever need slide gear, Supermoto wheels, Supermoto accessories, brake relocators, stuff to make your dirt bike into a Supermoto, you can go to toxicmoto.com. They should have everything you need to turn your bike into a Supermoto bike. You could probably get it done for less than $2,000 and have a solid race bike.
Yeah, it doesn't take much to get started out here. Just a set of wheels, some tires, brakes, and maybe some gearing changes, but just the bare necessities to get your bike ready. Some safety wire and catch cans, but it doesn't take much to turn your dirt bike into a Supermoto bike and come out here and have some fun.
There's the bikes of Timmy V coming from Denver, Colorado.
Yep, that's the 252 of Chris Anderson on screen. They're from the Pacific Northwest. You see the 775, 764. That 764 bike, actually a funny story. Supermoto Granny, they call her, Debbie from Cascadia Supermoto. She was actually the one that kind of started Cascadia Supermoto. She qualified for this race but wasn't able to make it, so she's loaned out her bike to Jake Randall. So he's competing in the 250 Pro class, trying to bring home a podium for Debbie, he said. But it's and here on screen you see some of our friends from the Supermoto Quebec group. I think that's the 24 of Mike Michaud. Does he have tire warmers wrapped around his arms there trying to keep his hands warm? There's the 227, Nelson Moreau. We called him the Iron Man yesterday because I think he was out there in just about every session.
I think every session but the youth class and the amateur class. Yeah, you can kind of see from them guys how cold it is out here today. It is wet and cold. It's going to be in the mid-30s all day today. That tire warmer there is probably not.
Yeah, is that an electrical hazard or we don't know. Brandon Kinsey's still getting the tires warmed up. I don't think we saw him on track either, so he's probably sitting in the trailer trying to stay warm, getting woke up this morning.
Bit on that. Yeah, this looks like we're coming up on the Supermoto Racer magazine class here out of New Mexico.
Yeah, you can see
Sean Butterman there.
Butter's all bundled up. Looks like Ryan Samp checking some tire pressure with the tires on the warmers. Good morning, Butters. Butters just got back from Italy. He actually raced for Team USA at Supermoto A Nation, so that's really cool that Butters was able to make it out here and also come race the North American Supermoto Shootout. He got second in the Open Pro class yesterday, so he's got a really good chance at getting that ring also. I know we talked about Jake LaForge and Shane Narbonne quite a bit this morning, but Butters is right there. He's kind of sneaky and lying under the radar just like Butters does.
Yeah, and honestly, Sean Butterman has a better chance of getting the ring today than Shane Narbonne. He finished second yesterday. Yeah, he just has to finish in front of Jake LaForge today.
Yep, there's the 217. I believe that's Jordan Jones. The 929 of Charlie Buffum with those nice bright yellow wheels coming out of Peoria, Illinois. I think down there on the far end, I believe that's our South Dakota group. So the number 80 of Bad Brady Towson.
33 of Dawson Schaefer and 424 of Josh Jackson, who came in all the way from Alaska.
Yeah, I think we had an amateur Hayden Burge racing out of that group as well, but due to these conditions and I think he had a couple pretty bad spills yesterday, so Hayden's decided to not chance the weather today and.
Josh and his wife there.
Yeah.
And, that's Brady's dad there in the green, and then Matt Burge, that's Hayden Burge's dad, and another family of racers. And these guys are from South Dakota, around Sturgis area, Sturgis and Rapid City.
Yeah, you can see Josh isn't quite as bundled up as everybody else. I think he might be used to these cold temperatures, this wet weather with all this wind coming from Alaska.
I think you're right, Traven. I think he feels right at home.
You can see even those bikes are cold. They're bundled up next to the tarp there trying to keep each other warm. We've got the 404, the Donster, and 55 of Coy Baker. They're going to be coming from Colorado.
Those are some good-looking bikes there.
That they are.
Kept them so clean.
Yeah, they must have found the clean puddles to splash through.
And you can just see how bad the pits are. They're muddy.
Yeah, you can see everybody's got their camps set up kind of on the paved walkways around the pits. Usually that's kind of the road to get through the pits between the vehicles, but with all the mud and the just kind of nasty conditions, everybody's chose to put their stuff on the pavement and try and stay out of that nasty weather. Can see on screen there Shane Narbonne coming out of the van, probably going right into the canopy there. They've got a big heater blowing. Oh, we're going to get an inside peek. here we go. He's hiding this from everybody else, but luckily we've got a camera, so we're gonna go in anyway.
I'm already feeling more warm.
There's the 17 of Jake LaForge. You can see these guys have quite the setup here, actually. There's Jake's bike, Shane's bike as well. Jake sitting, look at him, drying boots out in front of the heater.
That's the pit to be in. And Shane came in from Florida. He actually raced in Daytona at an endurance race just last weekend and drove straight in from there.
Yeah, Shane will race just about anything with 2 wheels, I think. 2 wheels and an engine, and he's racing it, whether it's a big Harley bagger, a Supermoto bike, ice bikes in Canada.
Yeah, he does a little bit of it all. And then Jake here, Jake LaForge and Shane, they were actually neighbors growing up, and they've been riding together literally their entire lives. Like we have a rider here trying to stay warm by doing laps, running. That's really smart.
Yep, JC Bernier keeping the blood flowing. I'd try to not step in the puddles, though. You might get your boots a little too wet. JC Bernier, maybe he's just envisioning the track as he's running laps around there. He didn't want to go out and practice. And oh, here we go.
He's entertaining us.
Yeah, Sam Lackas having a good time. Getting breakfast, getting the blood flowing. Oh, pumping it up, raising the roof.
Playing Eye of the Tiger for this guy.
You can see our podium there with some of our sponsors. And so we're hearing news right now. It sounds like first call for the Open Pro class. We're going to go ahead and start off with the big show today. And so it will probably be just a few minutes until the Open Pro guys are headed to pre-grid and then on track. You can see on screen here our Open Pro class in the pre-grid. Looks like some fist bumps going around. All the camaraderie between these Open Pro riders is really cool to see. These guys kind of travel around the country and race a lot of the same races, so a lot of them know each other. And it looks like we've got bikes headed out on track. There's your 17 of Jake LaForge, yesterday's winner. 33 of Dawson Schaefer out of South Dakota. The 64 and 109, Shane Narbonne and Sean Butterman. Those are the guys looking to upset Jake LaForge from yesterday's win and try and win that championship ring. So it sounds like we have 13 of the 14 riders here. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's the 424 of Josh Jackson has decided to sit this out due to the less than desirable, dreary conditions today.
Yeah, and Josh was actually a special case coming into this race. He didn't even know he was actually going to race this race. And then a few weeks ago, he got a phone call, and someone couldn't make it to the race and was able to give him their credentials. And he was able, on short notice, to fly into Oklahoma from Alaska and borrowed a bike and got everything going. But he made a judgment call. He's been off the bike for a few years, and it's wet and rainy, and he does have a day job, so he didn't want to go back hurt.
Yeah, absolutely. In these conditions, you have to be as sharp as a tack as far as your bike handling and just your mindset and where you're at as far as your reaction time and everything. So probably a wise call by Josh Jackson to go ahead and sit today out. But it was great to see him back here on a Supermoto bike for the first time in a few years.
No, it's going to be the one. No, it's not that one. It's the same as last time. It would be Jake. It's the same as last time.
Here on screen, there's Jake LaForge, Shane Narbonne, and Sean Butterman. These are the three favorites to win today. And then you can't count out Andrew Millier.
No.
He put in a very impressive ride yesterday, even after his hard get-off.
Yeah, Andrew Millier, I believe he was actually one of the title contenders for the SMEC championship this year, if I'm not mistaken. I think he might have actually wrapped it up. There's the 838, Timmy V, Colorado's own. We've all seen Timmy V at a race at some point. The 33 of Dawson Schaefer. 227, the Iron Man, Nelson Moreau. Great to see him out there after quite a few small tumbles yesterday, but once you're riding on that limit, sometimes it happens.
That's part of riding. You have to accept the fact that you are going to be on the ground more than you want.
Yeah, you see the 324, Ryan Samp there. He's racing his YZ 250 in the open class. The 80, Bad Brady Towson. Number 88, Jake Randell. 403 of Kevin Cartlieroff. The 55 of Coy Baker out of Colorado. All right, so you can see right there at the top, here in just a moment, you're going to see the red light come on at the top of your screen. And whenever that light goes off, that light on screen there, whenever that light goes off is when these riders are going to take off. We saw yesterday a couple of them got confused and took off when the light came on, so we had to restart them. See, the lights are on, and they're off. Oh, looks like a little bit of a stumble there from the number 80, Brady Towson. Looks like the 17 of Jake LaForge is off to a great start again. Is he going to be able to repeat yesterday? Looks like Sean Butterman in second, Shane Narbonne in third.
Timmy V coming in fourth there, and then followed up by Andrew Miller.
Oh, big
Millier
crash by Andrew
crashed.
Millier. Looks like he is going to be all right. Will he remount and continue? Out front, looks like the 109 of Sean Butterman's trying to put an early push on the 17 of Jake LaForge. Oh, Jake with a little bobble there coming out of the keyhole.
Sean Butterman is all over him.
Yeah, Butters wants that ring. Like we said earlier, he's kind of a sneaky favorite, just like Sean Butterman always is. There you see the 324, Ryan Samp, the 88, Jake Randell.
It looked like Brady there with the bad start has already made a couple of passes. Good for him.
Yeah, Brady's fighting hard. It looks like he's just keeps picking these guys off. See Timmy V there, not far off the back of this group of leaders. He's right there on the 64 of Shane Narbonne. If Shane has any kind of bobble, Timmy might be able to make a pass.
Yeah, and with Sean putting the pressure on Jake like this early in the race, these guys might have to race harder than they want to. This could result in a crash. You never know what's going to happen in these conditions.
We saw yesterday Jake ran away, got an early lead, and just kind of maintained that comfortable lead. But with Sean Butterman right on his tail, is he going to be able to just hit his marks and ride consistent, or will Sean Butterman be able to pressure him into a mistake?
Yeah, this looks like it's shaping up to be a very exciting race.
64 Shane Narbonne on screen there.
You know, I wonder if this heated battle is warming these guys up at all.
Yeah, and you also have to wonder if maybe Jake's just riding a little bit cautious, trying to get some heat in his tires and feel out the conditions. Sean Butterman looks like he's just on the charge, trying to make a move. If Jake leaves the door cracked, Sean Butterman's busting through.
Jake LaForge with a nice little bobble there, but he kept it upright. These guys are really pushing the limits of the track and their bikes right now.
Yeah, we've seen Jake make a couple early bobbles today, which wasn't really like him yesterday. He was just real smooth and consistent with that lead. So, again, I wonder if Sean Butterman putting that pressure on is going to give him a mistake.
Yeah, that's a good strategy. Just lay the pressure on, make them bobble.
Oh, and we see Sean Butterman looking up the inside here into the bank turn. Here's the 838 of Timmy V, kind of getting into a lonely fourth place spot. Is the 64 Shane Narbonne closing up on this group, or is Timmy V just kind of falling off the back?
No, it looks like Shane Narbonne might be catching up a little bit. This battle these guys got going on for first place might be slowing him down a little bit and giving Shane Narbonne an opportunity here. And these guys keep slipping and sliding. They are absolutely riding at their hardest right now.
Yeah, and you can see just off to the left of screen there was the number 80 of Brady Towson. Looks like he had a get off in the first turn and is just headed back to the pits. He does seem to be walking and in good spirits, so that's great to see. But back to the battle on screen.
That's too bad for Brady. He is one of the favorites here in the pits, and he is an excellent rider. But the weather today, it may just got the best of him.
Yeah, you can see these top three here, they're kind of tightening up. Sean Butterman still has the pressure on Jake LaForge, but Shane Narbonne's right there off the back of him.
Yeah, this is shaping up to be an excellent race. I'm glad these guys are giving us something to watch.
Yeah, and you can see him coming around the lappers here, so you just wonder if that's gonna, it doesn't look like it has any effect. Looks like Kevin Cartliaroff able to get out of the way and let these guys continue the race. Oh, Shane Narbonne looking up the inside of Sean Butterman. Jake LaForge kind of getting away from him. Oh, and yeah, Shane has made the pass.
Just made the pass. So Shane has to finish first in order to get first place today. And he just made the move on Sean Butterman. So he just has to make it around Jake. If Jake wins, he gets the gold today.
Jake needs to win. So we just see Jake LaForge there on screen, kind of trying to maintain this lead that he has. It looks like maybe he's gotten a little bit of heat into those tires because I haven't seen him really bobble or have any moments in the past couple of laps. Screen there, the yellow light, that's just because we have a little bit of debris. Looks like some dirt and grass has made its way onto the race course after Brady Towson's crash in turn one. And there goes the leaders by on screen, it looks like the 17 of Jake LaForge and the 64 of Shane Narbonne are just starting to put a little bit of a gap on the 109 of Sean Butterman. Coming around the middle of your screen, there's the 151 of JC Bernier. We saw him running laps in the pits earlier. There's the 838 of Timmy V headed through turn 2.
There you can see some riders coming through turn 1 there. You can't quite see the debris there on the left-hand side of the screen, but it is scattered almost all the way across the track there. That has got to be challenging coming into the turn. They're coming into that turn sliding, doing about 65 miles an hour whenever they get on the brakes.
Yeah, and it looks like the halfway flags are out. So about half of this moto, they have another obstacle in turn 1. Ooh, little bit of a bobble from Shane Narbonne there, but he's closing up the gap on Jake LaForge.
Yeah, this is shaping up to be an excellent race.
Yeah.
And again, these two have been racing each other their entire lives. They both started riding at about 5 years old on Honda Z50s, and still today, here they are in their 30s, and they are still at it.
Yeah, when you grow up friends like that riding with each other, you tend to know each other's tendencies. So you just wonder if maybe Shane's a little bit stronger at the end of the races and Jake's maybe an early race sprinter.
Possibly. And also, it is very hard to make passes and often easier to keep a guy behind you. So Jake with his good start is definitely an advantage here, but Shane is absolutely flying. He set the fastest lap yesterday by almost a second.
Yeah, and you can see Shane on the exit, a lot of these turns kind of lighten up the back tire, getting it spinning. You wonder if that's just because he's trying to get a better drive than Jake to try and make a pass. With, like you said, Kenny, in these conditions, it's really hard to get around somebody and much easier to just ride a wide bike.
Yeah, and in a track like this where everything's wet and cold, it's really one line. You have got to do the fastest line. Otherwise, you get out, you're going to have a hard time going quickly around this track.
There on screen is the 109 of Sean Butterman riding in a kind of a lonely third place. Oh, you can see Shane there trying to make the move. Not quite able to make it happen. Jake's just able to squeeze him out. This is shaping up to be a great battle, Kenny.
Yeah, these boys are riding excellent. I cannot believe how fast they're going in these conditions.
Yeah, it's very impressive. The pace that these guys are running in these wet, nasty conditions, and I mean, it's really cold too with quite a bit of wind. So I know traction's at a premium, and these guys are not running far off of amateur asphalt only lap times around this track. You can see on screen there kind of the two different colors of pavement. That's kind of another tricky thing about this track. There's a couple different blends of asphalt, and the traction is different on the different colors of pavement. So these guys are really having to be smart out there and hit their marks.
Yeah, and that's in the dry. In the wet, it makes it even harder in these different
Oh,
types of
we see
asphalt.
Shane Narbonne trying to make the pass. Jake got
he's
held up by a lapper, and Shane made it happen.
That is...
Is Jake going to be able to retaliate? It looks like this is the last lap, so that could have been a very crucial pass.
Now with this finish, how's this going to play out with Shane getting a third yesterday and a first today with Jake with a 1 and 2?
Wow, so that's interesting, Kenny. Shane going 3-1 is going to be 4 total points, and Jake going 1-2 is only 3, so I think that makes Jake your champion.
We will find out. Those are unofficial results. Great race these two put in.
Yeah, absolutely. We can see Shane with a little wheelie there.
Awesome. And there's Sean Butterman. Looks like he's in good mood. That's great. These guys look like they had a fun time on the track. And
There's the 403, Kevin Cartlier off. This guy's a character. 227, Iron Man, Nelson Moreau. Back there we see the 88, Jake Randall. Nelson's coming from Canada, Jake from the Pacific Northwest. So these guys made quite the trip to come all the way here to Oklahoma for this race.
Dawson Schaefer coming across the line there.
You see Timmy V with his hand behind his exhaust, just trying to get his fingers warmed back up, I would imagine.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's brutal out there.
These guys were complaining yesterday about not even being able to feel their clutch or their front brake lever whenever they came in.
A 33 at Dawson Schaefer coming out of the Sturgis, South Dakota area.
Great ride by Shane Narbonne. Excellent ride. He put it in today.
Yeah, Shane made a couple really smart moves, just kind of stalking his prey, if you will, and was able to make it happen. You can see these guys making their way back into the pit lane here.
Okay, so it was announced we're going to
We
take a short break.
see some fans over here. I'm not sure if they're watching the broadcast or if they're just trying to add up the math to see where everybody finished.
We're going to take a short break from the racetrack for a second, and amateur will be up next.
Yeah, in the meantime, we'd like to thank a couple of our sponsors. First off, Tom Duma Fine Jewelers. TDFJ.com is actually the one that made that championship ring that you've heard us talking about. Metzler is the official tire of the North American Supermoto Shootout. Metzler makes some amazing Supermoto tires. Toxic Moto or Slide Moto is going to be the official trackside support here at the North American Supermoto Shootout, and also a great online supplier for just about any of your Supermoto needs. We also have Mobius braces helping us out, helping protect some of these riders out here. We saw on screen just a second ago the Track Systems North America light system. So that system is going to be essentially a caution flag system. So we can control that from race control, and you can put yellows out in certain parts of the track, or green, white, checkered, depending on kind of what is happening in the race, if there's a hazard in the racing line or anything like that. So that's a really neat system that we have here. Also, Turn 9 Motorsports. And we'd also like to thank our affiliate Supermoto groups that help put on qualifying events for the North American Supermoto Shootout here. So we had in the New England area, we had SMEC, Supermoto East Coast. In Colorado, the Colorado Supermoto group had their own qualifier. Cascadia Supermoto up in the Pacific Northwest. We talked a little bit about Supermoto Granny earlier and her loaning out a bike, so that's really cool up there in the Pacific Northwest in Cascadia Supermoto. And also Supermoto Quebec. So we have quite a few Canadians that have made their way down here. And we see on track there just a few different corner workers helping to sweep up the grass and dirt that came on track from Brady Towson's exit. Thanks for joining us, and we will be back momentarily with more racing action. We're coming up next with the NAS Amateur Supermoto Moto 2. So we'll be back soon.
There on screen is Steve Ingram. He's been a big help with the program this year, and he's also a racer. He raced yesterday. He's actually will be on the track a little bit later today.
You can see on screen there the Toxic Moto rig. That's where all these riders were lined up yesterday trying to get their rain tires put on. Everybody was kind of in a frantic panic trying to get rain tires put on, but luckily Jeff had plenty of rain tires and was able to get everybody taken care of.
Okay, so here on screen is this light system that we've been talking about, and it flashes red, yellow, white, and blue. You see red, it means it's obviously a restart or something bad's happened on the track, and we need to pull off for safety concerns or something. Then here's white, and white is a solid white is the last lap, and whenever it blinks white like that, it is the checkered. It is the last lap of the race, or the checkered is out, I'm sorry. And then if you see a blue light, that actually means that's telling the riders that are being lapped that you have the leaders are coming through and to be prepared to have them pass you.
You can see on screen there a couple of the masterminds behind this North American Supermoto Shootout. Of our brave corner workers there.
And as you can see there, the light system, that's the controller, and we have a couple of those, and track officials around the track can actually change those on the fly.
Kenny, explain to us what these different flags mean.
Well, you were outside the booth. We just went over that a little bit, but blue light means that you got your leaders coming through, and you could be getting lapped. Yellow flag is a caution flag for a down rider. I believe a blinking yellow means no passing during the yellow or during the incident or whatever it might be on track. Then you have a white for your last lap, and a blinking white, it means the checkered flag is out. As you can see there, the wind is still picking up, and the temperature is due to get colder as the day passes, which is very unfortunate, being in the mid-30s.
Yeah, not ideal conditions for racing supermoto bikes, that's for sure.
Yeah, typically we race these bikes whenever it's above 75, 80 degrees.
Well, Kenny, that might just be you. I think you're a fair weather rider anymore.
Well, I'm used to be. So a couple of days ago, whenever we still had some nice dry weather and the track was in really good conditions and the temperature was nice, about 75 degrees, Traven, he brought out the future of motorcycling, the Stark Varg, and spun some laps around this track. Tell us a little bit about that, Traven. What'd you think?
Yeah, it was really cool, Kenny. It's been a long time since I was on a supermoto bike. It's been a little while since I was on a motorcycle, period, since I tore my knee up in May, but the doctor told me a couple weeks ago that I could start safely riding a motorcycle, feet on the pegs, so I figured what better place to come back than on a supermoto track. That Stark bike was honestly, it was very impressive. I felt like I was riding a missile because the thing didn't make any noise, but next thing I knew, I was all the way down the front straightaway and trying to shut it down for turn one. So it was really cool to ride it. I definitely want to spin some more laps on it, get a little bit more comfortable just being back on a bike, but I think that thing is the future. Through the dirt section, it was really impressive, being able to change the mapping. So on the pavement, I could run it at 60 horsepower and then tune it down to 40 in the dirt, and just make it a little bit more rideable and controllable. So it's really cool to see what the group at Stark Future has done, and I'm excited to see maybe an electric class in the future.
That would be really neat, honestly. And how did it handle compared to a traditional gas-powered motorcycle?
I need a Sony battery.
Well, like I said, Kenny, it's been a while since I rode a traditional gas motorcycle, so I felt just completely out of place on a bike, but I didn't feel like the bike was hard to turn or anything like that. It felt very connected to the track, so almost in good and bad ways. So over some of the bumps, you could really feel the bumps, but that's kind of a good thing because it keeps you connected and you really get that feedback from the track, so you can feel what the bike's doing to stay in control of it. So, like I said, I want to spend some more laps on it, get a little bit more comfortable, and we'll see. Maybe if the boss will let me, I'll race it next year.
Oh, that would be really fun to watch. So we got some riders starting to come on their sighting lap. This will be the open amateur class.
Yeah, there's the 217 Jordan Jones. I think in the white helmet there, that's the 71 and Nathan Bayens. He had a great performance yesterday. See on screen there, I believe that is Chris from Chain Reaction Photography. So be sure to check out Chain Reaction Photography for some great shots of all these racers.
Here we go. We got our racers starting to do their pre-grid, setting their whole shot devices, getting into place, getting in line, and getting ready to do this thing.
Yeah, in the pole position, we have the number 71 and Nathan Bayens. You see him standing off to the side of the bike there, so you just wonder if maybe something's going on. Second position, we have the number 404. I believe that is the Donster Donnie Torwey. In the third position, we have the 87 of David Geerton. Fourth position, we have the 217 of Jordan Jones. Fifth position, we have the 252 of Chris Anderson. Sixth position, we have the 217X of Liz Penny. And in the seventh position, we have the 22 of Jan Borsier.
And there you can see on screen setting her whole shot device. This locks out the front suspension so that way the weight is more into the front of the bike and it helps it from wheeling out of the start.
Yeah, and we can see, looks like the 404 of Donnie Torwey just making his way up to the back of the grid there. I think he was a little late to pre-grid, so he wasn't able to make a sighting lap. So we'll see what that amounts to for Donnie.
It looks like these guys are already ready for the finish line. It must be cold right now.
Yeah, you can see it looks like everybody on the grid except for maybe the 252, the farmer Chris Anderson. It looks like he's the only person that doesn't have a jacket or a hoodie or something on to try and stay warm. So we'll see what happens in this race.
Well, you know those farmers, they never get cold.
Yeah, farmers are tough, Kenny. We can see the lights are on there, and they're off. And it looks like a great start from the 71 of Nathan Bayens and also the 87 of David Geerton. Looks like everybody's making it through the first turn clean. A little bit of a gap already from the 71 of Nathan Bayens. Oh, and a crash from David Geerton. And looks like Jan Borsier piles into him.
It looks like they're both okay getting up, getting their bikes separated.
Yeah, so it's just going to be a battle to persevere out there, Kenny. It looks like the conditions are as treacherous as we think, and it is plenty slick. You can see both of them remounting their bikes there, so maybe these guys are going to have a little battle between themselves. You can see the 71, Nathan Bayens, making his way around there in the number 1 position with the 404 of Donnie Torwey in second. Coming around in third, the 217 Jordan Jones, followed by the 252 of Chris Anderson. And you can see these riders are just trying to get some heat in these tires, feel out the conditions, because this track is slippery.
One little mistake and you will be on the ground.
Looks like the 404, Donnie Torwey's not letting Nathan get away from him. just see right in the braking zone there, David Geerton splashing through those puddles. And there goes the 217X of Liz Penny. She's coming to us from the Cascadia Supermoto group. I believe that Debbie Supermoto Granny got her into Supermoto as well, Kenny.
Yeah, that's right. That's what they was explaining to us. All these guys, they really are fond of Debbie, and she's an older lady, and she's still at it, and she has grandkids and everything.
Yeah, I heard she takes control of the 250 class up in the Cascadia Supermoto group quite a bit, is what they were telling us.
Too bad she couldn't make it this year.
We can see the 71 Nathan Bayens starting to stretch out his lead on the 404. But it, see there, 404, Donnie just making his way through the second turn, but it looks like this battle for the third position is starting to tighten up. So we can see on screen here the 217 and the 252 still going at it. And there on screens the 87 David Geerton after that second turn crash. Looks like he's making a pretty solid recovery.
It sounds like these guys are making it right about halfway through this race. You know, they've just got to be ready to get off the track. They probably can't feel their hands, their feet. The conditions are just treacherous today.
Yeah, it's always rough when you're riding and your nose is running. There's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I do not envy these guys' job at all today.
So there's the 22 of Jan Boursier on screen. Looks like he's pulling out a little bit of a lead on the 87 of David Geerton after their little incident in the second turn. You can see on screen there, it looks like the 252 farmer Chris Anderson has made the pass on the 217 of Jordan Jones. See on screen there, that's the 217X of Liz Penny.
And you can just see that wind whipping these banners around. It's just got to be miserable for these riders, and they are still at it in good spirits, and they're doing great today. Honestly, I would have a hard time keeping myself in such a good mood in this situation, to be honest.
Yeah, Kenny, I'm looking at the weather, and it says we've got 17-mile-an-hour winds right now, 41 degrees and drizzling. So
with the wind chill, it's 32 degrees. It feels like it's 32 degrees outside today. And there is actually a chance for snow today, believe it or not.
And we're here racing Supermoto. Rain, snow, or shine, they say. We'll be out here.
There is something wrong with all of us.
There's the 22, Jan Boursier, out of Canada.
Yeah, it's impressive that these guys came as far away as Canada to Oklahoma to torture themselves in this weather.
Yeah, hopefully they didn't bring this weather with us, and if they did, hopefully they're planning on taking it back home with them. We don't want them to leave it here.
I agree.
Go ahead. You can see our leader, number 71, Nathan Bayens, making his way into the first turn. And we can see our green light is still on there. Everything has gone really smooth this moto, aside from the small mishap in the second turn.
Yeah, that second turn seems to be getting a lot of people over the last 2 days now. Them tires have been hit by several bikes now.
Yeah, we were talking earlier, Kenny, about the two different types of pavement in that second turn. So you just wonder if maybe one of the pavements, maybe the one in the main racing line, doesn't quite have the traction that these guys are asking out of it.
Yeah, and that can be very difficult to deal with at times because you feel like it's the fast line, it's the direct line, and it can sometimes be too slippery, and you have to change your line and go around it, and it can affect a couple of turns past that.
We can see it looks like the rain's starting to come down again. It looks like our leader's making his way around the last turn right here, coming around for the white flag lap. So there is one lap left in this moto. This is going to be your open amateur Supermoto Moto 2.
I bet these guys have never been happier to see a white flag.
There on screen with the white handguards, that's the 404. In second place, Donnie Torwi. You see him making his way into the first turn. There's the 22 of Jan Borsier. Has Jan made up that much of a deficit from his first turn crash? Is he in the third position? Yeah, it looks like Jan Borsier has made his way all the way up to third place after his second turn mishap. So very impressive ride from the number 22 of Jan Borsier. You just wonder if maybe he's going to be able to make a last turn pass on the 404, the Donster. There's our leader, Nathan Bayens, after taking the checkered flag. Coming down the straightaway, there goes the 404. So it looks like the 404, Donnie Torwi, is able to hold it off from the 22 of Jan Borsier, but a very impressive ride from the 22 after his second turn crash with the 87 of David Geerton.
Yeah, what a ride. Being down for that long and still be able to come up and finish third, that's very impressive.
Jan told me yesterday before going out for practice that he doesn't think he's crashed as much as in his life as he did this weekend. So it's good to see that even with the crashes, he's still able to put on a great performance and make his way to the third position.
We're just getting these riders off the track, and we are going to get ready for the next moto.
Yeah, that's going to be our Vet 30 Plus class. A pretty solid grid on that one. It looks like we have a couple riders that are riding both the amateur class and the Vet 30 Plus class. So we'll probably give these guys just a short break to top up the bike with gas, maybe thaw their hands out a little bit, blow their nose, and get back out there. So we can see our Vet 30 Plus class here sitting under the North American Supermoto Shootout canopy. A rider or two that have bowed out due to the conditions. Can see on screen there one of our cameramen, Jake, out here braving the cold weather, the rainy weather, just to make sure that we have the good shots for this broadcast. A big thanks to not only our cameramen, but also our corner workers who are sitting out there in the cold, rainy weather, making sure that all of the riders know the conditions and everybody's safe out there. We can see our riders here making their way out for the warm-up lap. And when we say warm-up lap, we hope these guys are getting warmed up because it is cold out there. We just checked the weather and it looks like with the wind chill, it is 32 degrees. So they are definitely braving the cold weather. See there with the yellow handguards, the 312, Anthony Franco. We saw a great battle from him.
And Anthony Franco, was he the winner yesterday? Did he get the first place position?
Yeah, I believe that he did in the 30 plus class. You see our riders making their way around to the grid now. See the 24 of Mike Michaud there.
This is the Vet 30 class, so all these riders are 30 years or older.
Yeah, so on the pole position, Kenny will have the 312 of Anthony Franco. In the second position, the 24 of Mike Michaud. Third position, the Ironman, the 227 of Nelson Morian. In the fourth position, another Ironman, the 88 of Jacob Randall. He's just running a couple different numbers on a couple different bikes today. In the fifth position, the 151, JC Bernier, that was running around warming up in the pits earlier. In sixth position, we've got the 22, Jan Boursier. We just saw an amazing performance from him in the amateur class. And seventh is the 9 of Dimitri Godard. In the eighth position, the 122 of Ken Armstrong. The ninth position, the 66 of Sam Lackas. 10th position, the 298 of Sergio Di Malfetta. We saw a good battle between Sam and Sergio yesterday. 11th position is Andy Gochi. And then in the 12th position is going to be Kevin Kartlieroff.
These guys are just about set to go.
Yep, we can see him checking there, make sure everybody's ready to go. We can see the lights are on. And we're off with our Vet 30 Plus Moto 2. A great jump from the 227 of Nelson Morian and the 24 of Mike Michaud. Looks like the 312 of Anthony Franco is the one that's actually able to make it out of the first turn in the first position. Let's make sure that everybody makes it through these first few corners safely. We see them making their way around the infield now. Looks like the 24 of Mike Michaud in second, the 227 in third, and the 151 of JC Bernier in fourth. 88 of Jake Randall bringing up fifth place.
And the 312 out in the lead, Anthony Franco. And here at booth, we got Shane Arbone. Tell us a little bit about Anthony Franco, Shane.
Yeah, Franco, he's been around forever. I think he was like one of the guys that really started this whole SMEC thing when, probably 10 years ago now, right?
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool to see him out here. You know, his whole family's here. I don't think Renee went out, but his daughter. But yeah, Franco, he loves the rain. He loves any conditions. So I always call him an animal because he'll ride anytime, any bike, anywhere, any point.
Absolutely. I've personally raced Anthony Franco, and he's a fun guy to race.
Yeah, Shane, tell us a little bit. You were just out there in the Open Pro Moto actually bringing home the win. How are the conditions out there?
Oh, you know, they're not terrible. You know, of course we want the sun out, but at the same time, you know, a little different than yesterday, of course, just because of the temperature. But all in all, it was pretty much kind of the same conditions. You know, we had a little bad luck yesterday with bike problem off the start, but today was a good day. You know, we came back and did what we wanted to do, so it was fun.
Yeah, that was a great ride from you, not only today but also yesterday coming from the back of the pack. It was really impressive to see the gaps that you were able to make up.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we got to thank all these guys for putting this on. You two for being up here. It's cool. You know, everyone back here in the pits is watching too, so.
Yeah, we got the easy job up here in the warm booth out of the rain. You guys had the hard job out there on the track in these conditions, but it was a great show that you put on. Shane, are there any sponsors or anybody you'd like to thank?
Yeah, of course, Trevor for helping me out all weekend. Metzler Tires, TDFJ for, you know, supporting the prize money for us and the big old ring, you know, and the whole NAS, you know, for doing a great job. I know I feel them for this weather, and it's a bummer, but at the same time, we're putting on some good racing, and hopefully next year will be even better. And I'm sure hopefully people recognize what these guys are doing and trying to bring Supermoto back. So.
Yeah, there's a lot of people behind the scenes making this work. A lot of people putting a lot of hard work in. And the racers, too. The racers, they have their own job to do, and they keep themselves very busy between these races.
Yeah, we've seen racers, especially this weekend, racers offering help to each other, changing tires. We heard from Steve Ingram that he had to bring his tires over to you guys actually yesterday, Shane, and you guys helped him out and changed him out. So that's really cool to see the camaraderie in the pits here. I think everybody's a little bit bummed about the weather, but luckily if we all stay together and kind of support each other, we're able to make it through and make this event happen. So it's really cool to see the racing that's going on.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's cool to see the people, you know, we all want to win, you know, that's why we come here. But at the same time, we're all friends. We're all racing family, you know. So, I mean, I would help anyone if needed, and I always do. So, and everyone else does for me too. So that's cool to see for sure.
Absolutely, it's a family event out here most weekends. And like Shane said, everyone's really close, and everybody's really known each other and gotten close to each other, even though there's a whole country between some of us.
Yeah, and you can see your running order there along the bottom of the screen. So that's another really cool feature that they were able to provide for us, is able to run a live timing there on the bottom of the broadcast. So you can see the 312 Anthony Franco out front, the 24 Mike Michaud in second. There on screen is the 24 Mike Michaud in second place. 151 at JC Bernier making his way by. There's the 22 of Jan Boursier. We just saw him in the amateur moto and now riding back-to-back motos in the Vet 30-plus class. So 3-1-12, your leader, Anthony Franco, making his way into the keyhole now. And this turn is a very slick turn. But we've seen everybody make their way through it pretty well unscathed today.
It's working, yes, sir.
There on screens the 151 JC Bernier, followed by the number 9. Dimitri Godard. And there's your leader at 3-1-12, Anthony Franco. Followed by second place, Mike Michaud. Mike's really not far off the back of Anthony, so he's not letting Anthony have this one easy. Whoa, and a big moment for the number 9 of Dimitri Godard. What a save. Wow, that one got my heart rate up, Kenny. I don't know about you.
Yeah, it did. That was an incredible save. That one probably goes to the best save of the weekend.
Man, that thing swapped both directions on him, but he was able to make it down the straightaway. That is impressive.
Nothing like that will make you feel alive.
He's just trying to make up that ground to the 151 of J.C. Bernier. You see their different riding styles, so you wonder if maybe him hanging off the side of the bike had a little bit to do with the lack of traction on the rear tire coming out of the last turn, but he's still putting on the charge, trying to catch the 151 of J.C. Bernier. We can see the white flag just came out for your leader, the 3-1-12 of Anthony Franco, and there goes the 24 of Mike Michaud. There's the 151 of J.C. Bernier and the number 9 of Dimitri Godard, making their way to the white flag, so one lap left in this race. There in the center of the screen in the bright orange jacket, that's the 403 of Kevin Kartlieroff. Looks like he's having a pretty good battle with the 775 of Andy Gucci.
Yes.
We can see on screen there the 3-1-12, Anthony Franco. He's making his way through the last couple of turns on his way to the checkered flag. We can see here the 3-1-2, Anthony Franco raising that front wheel up, a big celebratory wheelie, bringing home the first place in the Vet 30-plus class.
You can see how much the wind has picked up, even from just a little while ago.
Yeah, we know how good Fred is with the flags, and his flagging doesn't look as good as normal. We see him, even Fred's having a bobble out there. The weather's affecting him.
He's doing a job.
He is doing a job.
Can you imagine the relief these riders have at this moment coming down on their cool-off lap?
I don't know if it's a cool-off lap. It might be a warm-up lap again. Trying to go slower to warm yourself back up. A wheelie from the 403, Kevin Kartlieroff.
So you can be notified when we do have these events, these live streams. These guys working real hard on these programs. It'd be nice to get in front of some people.
So we just heard it's going to be about a 5 to 7 minute break before the 250 Pro Moto heads to the pre-grid. Fred actually just dropped his checkered flag off for us to try and dry it out. So I think the rain has affected the checkered flag. He's having a hard time waving it, but we're going to try and get that dried out for him so that he can do a job the best that he can.
Yeah, and also, you know, we've got to give our cameramen and our other track officials a little bit of break from the weather. They're completely exposed to the elements today with no wind block or anything, so we're going to let them warm up just a little bit, maybe take about a 5-minute break or so, and we'll be back to racing. Yeah,
and a big thanks to our cameramen and also our corner workers out there braving these elements. It is no fun to be standing out there, like you said, Kenny, in the wind, in the rain, in the cold. So again, a big, huge thank you to everybody that's helping us put this event on.
Absolutely, and they're volunteers. They're not getting paid for this, so hats off to them. These conditions are less than favorable. Ooh, we'll be back shortly with some racing. Stay tuned.
And welcome back. So it looks like we have our Pro Lights group making their way around on their warm-up lap. Maybe it's a cool-down lap with the temperatures we have, but they are making their way around the track to 8 in the vet class. So that bike, I believe, is from Debbie SM Granny. She's from the Cascadia Supermoto group, so up in the Pacific Northwest where one of the qualifiers was held. That's going to be one of Debbie's bikes. There we see the 929 Charlie Buffum on pole, the 324 Ryan Samp in second, 764 Jacob Randall, the 298 Sergio Di Malfetta. Then back there on the back row, we've got the 266 of Brandon Kinsey and the 66 of Sam Lackus. So the number 728 of Steve Ingram, we did see him in this class yesterday, but he is also bowed out after having a couple of get-offs. So we see we've got everybody gridded up here. Fred's going to make sure everybody's ready to go. Make sure everybody's ready to go. Here we are. Oh. Give us just a second here. Looks like we've got... Oh, having a light malfunction. We're going to go off a flag, traditional Supermoto style.
And when the green drops.
And they're off. So it looks like a great jump from the 298 Sergio Di Malfetta out of 4th place, and also the 929 Charlie Buffum out of Peoria, Illinois. Looks like Charlie Buffum's going to be off to the early lead in the Pro Lights class, with a little battle coming from the 324 of Ryan Samp with a moment through the second turn there.
Charlie Buffum's really moving right now.
Yeah, those bright yellow wheels make him easy to spot out on track, whether he's in the middle of the pack or well out front like he is right here. We see the 324, Ryan Samp not letting him get away easy. He's going to put on as much of a charge as he can in second position. And then farther back in third, we see the 764, Jake Randall making a pass on the 298 of Sergio Di Malfetta. And there's the 266 of Brandon Kinsey and the 66 of Sam Lackus making their way around on the first lap.
And here they come down the main straight, coming across the finish line for lap 1 with green flag.
We see Charlie Buffum dropping into a tuck. I think he's the first one I've seen tuck behind the bars today, so he's really trying to sprint away, carrying great pace through that first turn. So we'll see what Charlie can do if he can get away from the 324 or Ryan Samp.
Yeah, I'd imagine he'd want to get off to an early lead, and in that way he can control the race from a distance and be able to pace himself and slow down and maybe minimize mistakes.
Yeah, absolutely. In these conditions, you kind of want to sprint away. Your hands are going to go numb, so you want to get away as quick as you can. That way you can just maintain the gap back to second place, which looks like Charlie Buffum is doing well. There in screen, we see the 764, Jake Randall, and the 298, Sergio Di Malfetta. Here we have the 66 of Sam Lackus looking around the outside of Brandon Kinsey. It doesn't look like he's going to be able to make it happen. Oh, is he? He's able to get him on the exit of the keyhole.
See how this plays out, see if Brandon can answer that.
And there's the 929-year leader, Charlie Buffum, with the bright yellow wheels out of Peoria, Illinois, with a nice lead early on in this 250 Pro Lights Moto.
And that's that turn 2 he just went through. That's been the most treacherous turn all weekend, it seems like. We've had a lot of crashes. You can actually see a space in the tire wall from how many times it's been hit this weekend.
Yeah, that tire wall has definitely been used, so it's a good thing it's there, keeping these riders safe and probably out of the puddle right behind it.
Absolutely. Tires are a little softer than the dirt that's out there.
So we can see the gap's not changing too much between the 929 and the 324 here.
Yeah, Ryan Samp is keeping him honest, and if he can just stay within striking distance, if Charlie Buffum might have a mistake, he very well could get the lead.
Yeah, we didn't see many mistakes out of Charlie yesterday, but there's one right now on screen. So it looks like Charlie Buffum with a little bobble coming into the last turn. Not quite enough to let Ryan Samp get up on his back tire, but with just a couple more mistakes, Ryan Samp could be right there. This turn 2, I think Ryan Samp has taken an asphalt and a soil sample in turn 2 a couple times. So he's definitely tried to find the preferred line around there. Looks like he's doing pretty well today. Here on screen, you see the 266 of Brandon Kinsey. Looks like he wasn't quite able to answer the charge of the 66 of Sam Lackus.
So what do you think is going through these riders' heads, Traven?
I see the halfway flags just made its way out right now, but I'm sure those riders are wishing that it was the white, if not the checkered. I'm sure that right now they're all freezing cold and just ready to make it back into the trailer, but these riders are still charging. You see the 324 of Ryan Samp there chasing the 929 of Charlie Buffum. There's the 764 from the Pacific Northwest, Jake Randall on Debbie SM Granny's bike. Those bright pink wheels, I'm a big fan of those, Kenny.
Yeah, it makes it a little easier to identify who we're seeing across the track here.
There's a 66 of Sam Lackus. We saw him in the pits earlier giving us a show while he was trying to stay warm. Onto the front straight, there goes 929 Charlie Buffum and the 324 of Ryan Samp out of Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Yeah, Ryan is keeping himself right in striking distance, not having to push too hard, and they've kept the same gap pretty much the whole race.
Yeah, if you look at the lap times there, it looks like their best lap times are really competitive with each other. So it's interesting to see that it was just that early race sprint that got Charlie Buffum this lead, but Ryan Samp's not letting him get away. He's holding that same pace.
You know, Trey, with all this wind, and we've had little rain this morning, the track actually looks like it might start to dry out a little. I know we said that about 100 times yesterday.
It rained every time we said it yesterday, so let's hope that doesn't happen today. But these riders with these cold temperatures, Kenny, I don't know that I'd be willing to risk a slick tire even if a dry line started to develop.
No, as cold as it is, I think a rain would be the choice.
Yeah, the softer compound rubber just stays warmer, and you have better traction with it in the colder temperatures. There's the 324 Ryan Samp making his way into turn 2 behind the 929 of Charlie Buffum. We can see now it looks like these guys are making their way into lap traffic. They've made it around the 266 of Brandon Kinsey all right, and coming up next is the 66 of Sam Lackus. Again. So we've also got the 298 Sergio Di Malfetta here making his way through the first turn, riding in kind of a lonely 4th position, but still we saw him and Sam Lackus battling yesterday, so Sergio's really put on a great ride today and put quite the gap on Sam.
It's quite impressive how well these tires are still hooking up, sliding into turn 1 at the speeds they're doing in this rain and in this temperature.
Yeah, you can see Charlie Buffum there making his way around into the infield. Here's the 266 Brandon Kinsey. And it looks like these guys are actually on their white flag lap. So this is the last lap. They're going to come around and get the checkered flag. So I'm sure they're going to be happy to see that, head back to the truck and try and get warmed up.
Yep, it looks like Charlie Buffum's just got 1 or 2 turns to make it through, and he'll be coming down the main straight with Ryan Samp right in behind him.
Yeah, and here you see Charlie Buffum coming around the last turn.
Big old wheelie, look at that, very nice.
Raising up a nice Supermoto wheelie for us. And then in second place, there goes, Charlie Buffum having some fun down there sliding it in.
They can go get their hot cocos now and warm up.
Yes, time for some coffee. There's the 66 of Sam Lackus giving us a wave, letting us know he's ready to be back warming up. There you can see some fist bumps from our first and second place rider there. The 929 Charlie Buffum riding another wheelie.
So if I'm not mistaken, he went 1-1 this weekend, correct?
Yeah, Charlie went 1-1, so he's gonna go home with a nice new ring, Kenny.
That is great.
There's the 764 Jake Randall giving us a wave, bringing home third place on Debbie SM Granny's bike. There's the 298 Sergio D. Malfetta. Sergio just giving a little shake there. I don't know if that was because he's cold or because he's frustrated.
Go ahead.
So it looks like up next we're going to have our Asphalt Only class. And I believe that will wrap up the program here today.
Yeah, it's been asphalt only all day today, correct?
It has been asphalt only due to these treacherous conditions, the cold, the rain. Unfortunately, we had an awesome dirt section here, a great layout. We got to ride it in practice on Thursday and Friday. It was rutting up nice. It looked like it was going to be really good, but unfortunately, with all the rain that we got yesterday, taking a peek at it right now from the tower, I can just see standing water and sloppy mud. So unfortunately, we tried to run an abbreviated dirt section yesterday, but it ended up developing a big, nasty hole coming back onto the asphalt, and we saw that call a couple of our top riders out. So just due to the treacherous conditions, we decided to take that dirt section out and condense it down to asphalt only, just for the safety of these riders. Try and keep everybody safe, make sure everybody gets home in one piece. So you can see our asphalt class starting to grid up there in the pre-grid area. So all these guys getting ready to head out. You can see again our photographer, Chris from Chain Reaction Photography there. So be sure to check out Chain Reaction Photography. Also, make sure you click the subscribe, also the like button on this feed for the Race Smec, SMR Magazine, and also all of our affiliate clubs that help hold qualifying events for this race here. So that's SMEC, Supermoto East Coast, Colorado Supermoto. We've got quite a big group from Colorado here. Cascadia Supermoto up in the Pacific Northwest. Debbie SM Granny's group. She sent quite the crew down here, and then also Supermoto Quebec has a great showing as well. And also you see the banners there of TDFJ. That's going to be Tom Duma Fine Jewelers. So they're providing the championship rings for our pro classes there. So very happy to have TDFJ on board, tdfj.com. Also Metzler Moto. Metzler's the official tire supplier for the North American Supermoto Shootout. We also have Toxic Moto and Slide Moto. That's going to be our official trackside support. So Toxic Moto, Slide Moto, they have slide crash protection for your Supermoto bike. They have Supermoto conversion kits. They have really anything you need to convert your traditional dirt bike that's been sitting in the garage to a Supermoto bike to get out and have some fun. So really happy to have the Slide Moto and Toxic Moto crew here. Also Mobius braces, keeping some of these riders protected. Track Systems North America, we gave you a little demo earlier of that Track Systems North America system with our safety and caution lights. So that's a really neat feature that we have here at the North American Supermoto Shootout. And also Turn 9 Motorsports for helping us out.
All right, looks like we got our riders coming on track now for their warm-up cool-down lap.
Sighting lap, we'll call it, I guess. There we go.
A little better.
They're definitely not warming up. It's too cold for that. making their way onto the grid now. This is going to be our open asphalt class. So on the pole position, we have the 144 Andrew Millier, the number 2 position. It looks like the 312 of Anthony Franco lining up in the number 2 position. We're also going to have the number 24 of Mike Michaud, the 71 of Nathan Bayens, the 403 Kevin Cartlieroff, the number 9 of Dimitri Godard with an amazing save earlier in his amateur moto, or was that the vet moto? We've also got, let's see, the number 88 of Jake Randall, the number 227 of Nelson Moreau, and the number 22 of Jan Boursier.
I think we've seen most of these riders out once already today. Anthony Franco and Andrew Millier are probably due for a good battle today. They both are good grain riders, and they ride knee out more often than not, the both of them.
Yeah, we saw yesterday Anthony Franco started the moto kind of riding foot out, and then we saw him kind of adapt to that knee out style about halfway through. So you wonder today if which style he's going to go with, which one he's going to be able to make work the best.
You know, I'd imagine knee out would do better today, just simply being able to keep the bike more upright.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Being knee out, if you do have a moment, it's a little bit harder to react and to save it if the front starts to slide or the rear steps out on you. But we saw the number 9 on screen there, Dimitri Godard, with an amazing save earlier. Still riding knee out, so it is still possible. We can see we've got everybody gridded up here. We've had an issue, I think, just due to all the rain that we've seen this weekend. Our start light isn't working. So we're gonna flag this one traditional Supermoto style with a flag drop from Fred there. He's gonna make sure all these riders are ready to go.
And now Fred, you will see him, if he's on camera, you'll see him raise the green flag above his head. So that way all the riders are able to see the green flag, and when it drops, that is when they're off.
And we're off. So we're racing a great jump from the 312 of Franco and the 144 of Millier, but is 71 of Nathan Bayens able to pinch him off going into turn 1? It looks like it. Nathan Bayens with the hole shot from the outside of the grid. The 312 of Anthony Franco close in pursuit with the 144 of Andrew Millier right behind him.
Great start.
Yeah, everybody made it through the first couple of corners clean. That's always a good thing to see. You see the 144 of Andrew Millier. I wouldn't say he's fallen behind just yet, but maybe take a second to feel out the conditions before he mounts a charge and catch up to it. Just coming in a little bit hot to turn 1, able to get her shut down. We've got a good group of 3 riders going to battle there. But it looks like right now it's the 71 Nathan Bayens with starting to get a comfortable lead. We see the 312 of Franco. It looks like he is riding foot out right now.
Yeah, and some of these riders, when they ride foot out like this with the asphalt as slick it is, they're able to actually stomp their foot down and pick the bike up a little bit if it goes to dip down. Yeah,
similar to like a dirt track or a speedway style of riding, just kind of planting that foot and using it as a third anchor point, if you will. We see on screen the 22 of Jan Boursier making the move on the 227. Coming onto the front straightaway is your leaders. The 71 Nathan Bayens, followed by the 312 of Anthony Franco and the 144 of Andrew Millier. Looks like in 4th place we have the 24 of Mike Michaud. Let's see, there was Jan Boursier, Dimitri Godard, and Nelson Moreau, followed by Kevin Cartlieroff and Jake Randall.
And it looks like these second and third are actually starting to make a charge on first place here.
Yeah, you wonder if maybe the experience is going to pay off with Franco and also Andrew Millier. Like you were saying, they're both great rain riders. I'm not sure how much experience Nathan Bayens has in the rain, so maybe that experience will pay off. Oh, and you can see he's taking a peek. He's looking at every opportunity to be able to get around the 71 and Nathan Bayens. You wonder if maybe the 71's holding him up just a little bit and he's trying to get away from the 144 of Andrew Millier. Here they come into turn 1. Still the same running order, the 71 of Nathan Bayens with the lead.
And Anthony Franco looks like he's just going to school, doing some study and seeing where he can maybe get a wheel and make a clean pass.
Yeah, we see the halfway flags are out, so about halfway through he's studied all the lines, of Nathan Bayens, so he's just going to look for that opportunity to be able to get around him.
Here in the booth, we've got Timmy V and Sean Butterman. You guys want to tell us something about these guys out front right now?
Dude, they're sending it right now because it's slick right now. It's so cold out, the damn near freezing. So the patches, you can really feel the difference in the asphalt today with the colder temperatures. And it's tricky. You have to be really patient. So when you're in a battle, it's so hard to mentally be patient.
And just overcome the numbness in your hands. That takes a lot.
Yeah, that's something we've been talking about all day. These riders complaining about not being able to feel their controls at all.
Halfway through my moto, all fingers were grabbing levers. I couldn't feel anything.
That just sounds terrifying.
It's just survival
I was
mode.
Grab too much front brake and whoosh, there it goes.
So you heard there Timmy V and Sean Butterman both saying it's just a game of survival out here with these cold temperatures. Your hands going numb, traction's at a premium, so these guys are doing a great job to run the pace that they are, and it looks like the 3-1-2 of Anthony Franco still stalking the 71 and Nathan Bayens.
This is shaping up to be a really good race. It's always exciting whenever you have your leaders all bunched up like this. For the riders themselves, though, it is probably one of the most stressful moments on the racetrack.
Yeah, and so it looks like the white flag is out now, Kenny. So you just wonder, has Anthony Franco studied enough? Is he going to be able to make a pass on the 71 and Nathan Bayens on this last lap? Or will the 144 of Andrew Millier be able to make a pass on the 3-1-2?
Oh, this is very good. So a lot of times whenever you have a rider that's holding up guys like this, there can be passes made from behind. So Andrew Millier could possibly even get the win here if these two end up getting into it and slowing each other down.
Yeah, and you just wonder if maybe Franco's going to make a dive bomb pass into the keyhole or maybe the last turn.
It's all about who wants the gold the most.
Franco with a small bobble. Nathan Bayens running a really tight defensive line through the banking. Franco trying to make it work around the outside, but that leaves the door open for 144 of Andrew Millier. Franco able to squeeze him out. Just barely, with a bobble out of the first two.
Look at this.
This is a great race, Kenny.
It's all about the horsepower right here, guys.
Oh, and it looks like the 71 of Nathan Bayens is able to make it happen from the 3-1-2 of Anthony Franco and the 144 of Andrew Millier. What a great battle from these three.
That's a great finish for the last race of the day, guys. That was awesome.
You just wonder, it looks like Franco's still riding hard, so maybe he didn't realize the checkered flag came out. He's still in race mode.
Hey, that's all right, man. You race until you see the checkered.
Hey, that or he's racing back to the truck to try and warm his hands back up.
I heard that.
It's on now.
I had one of them moments.
And I think that was Jacob Randall that just come across the line.
Here we have the 403, Kevin Cartlier off. Oh, running a burnout, last moto of the day. There we go. Canada's own Kevin Cartlier off. There we go. That's the way to get some screen time there.
Yeah, it's a good way to warm the tire up.
Yeah, there we go. We love to see it. This is what Supermoto is all about. We're all here for a good time.
Well, we couldn't have fireworks this weekend, but I think this will work.
Yeah, how about a smoke show?
Clearly happy to be off the racetrack and not racing anymore.
Yeah, it looks like he's probably never going to race a rain race again because he's just melting this rain tire. He's probably going to be a fair weather racer now. What a great show by the 403, Kevin Cartlier off, coming out of Canada.
Thank you.
And so just to wrap up, we'd like to thank a couple of our sponsors. We'd like to thank all of our camera crew, all of our corner workers, Fred, Ducky, and Jay behind the scenes for helping put on this shootout. It's been amazing. It's been awesome. All of our affiliate groups that helped hold qualifying races, so Supermoto East Coast, Colorado Supermoto, Cascadia Supermoto, and Supermoto Quebec, all of those groups had a great showing here at the shootout. So it's been awesome to see everybody come together and work together to try and bring Supermoto back to what it once was here in the U.S.
Yeah, Traven, a lot of people put a lot of work in behind the scenes this year. This has been a lot of work in the making. And for more Supermoto content, you could go to smrmagazine.com. They have highlight reels and a lot of content for Supermoto.
Yeah, absolutely. Be sure to subscribe to not only Race Smec, but also our other affiliate groups on YouTube. We see our cameraman Jake there just giving us a fist pump, letting us know he's excited to get warmed back up. But be sure to subscribe to SMR Magazine as well, Supermoto Racer Magazine. And we'd also like to thank all of our sponsors that helped us out to make this happen, with TDFJ.com, Tom Duma Fine Jewelers providing the championship rings for our pro classes, Metzler Moto, the official tire sponsor of the North American Supermoto Shootout, Toxic Moto and Slide Moto for providing trackside support, and also rain tires for a lot of these racers. So Jeff was able to bring what he had in stock out here and help all these riders mount up their rain tires for this event. So that's awesome. Big thanks to Jeff for that. We'd also like to thank Mobius Braces for helping protect some of these riders and keep them safe. Track Systems North America for our awesome caution light system. And also Turn 9 Motorsports for helping us make it all happen. So that is a wrap from your 2023 North American Supermoto Shootout. Stick around for the podium celebration. We are going to go ahead and broadcast our podium. But we thank you for joining us. Thanks for watching the racing. We will be back next year, so be sure to subscribe so you're notified whenever we do go live with these events. And we will see you again next year. But like I said, stick around, and we will have podium celebrations coming up soon.
Jake, next year, push now. Florida. Maybe to the Caribbean islands.
I'm gonna do a mic check again. Traven still has his thing on, YouTube on. I'll just double check.
Rain stop, that helps.
Like yesterday, I was just like, couldn't make it. Moving into a house.
so hot.
You can pretend you're riding a motorcycle with heated grips.
Put the curb sides in your palm. There you go.
Pretty fancy.
I got them on like Friday. These were like
Yeah.
I heard those are pretty badass. I don't know, this is off-brand, so I don't know, but...
Yeah, it's toxic.
Many that is. That ain't right.
Jeff's
What's that throttle? Richard, what's that throttle?
I know, buddy. How do you bend the handlebar?
There's a box of hats. Like, bring it out yesterday or something, and it didn't really work.
It was you?
Only one.
Is that the same as the Pro Taper side?
I haven't seen him do that. Is he here today? Oh, he was just hide inside. 'Cause yesterday he helped Fred.
Yeah. Oh, really? Hey, you think Pro Tapers work pretty good on it? I gotta go park this. You gotta park it? Yeah.
I kind of had one. J'étais voir qu'est-ce qui s'est passé sur YouTube.
See, look, Mike, 48 volt. See. Jake.
One of those switches, or the
I turned it to mic. I turned it to mic, so it's in XLR.
because there's one at mic 48.
Oh, hey, the top one's not on mine.
Input one.
The pump.
It was 48 on both mine.
Just move the middle, the top.
That's where it was before, and it wasn't working.
So you
Yeah.
move it down.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I didn't do is jack up the audio.
Super important.
Alright, first off,
Ouais, c'est ça.
thank you all.
Toute la semaine prochaine.
Ouais!
Ça a été un something that we've
envisioned for a long time. We think it's going to help the growth of Supermoto in the U.S. So, and Canada. And Canada. North America. North America. So, we're going to get it done. Heck yeah. It's only going to grow from here, so we appreciate the support. And like I said earlier, if you have any other local organizations or regional organizations who'd like to be a part, have them reach out to NAS. I'd like to thank our sponsors, Toxic Moto, of course, Cascadia for showing up, Home Qualifier, Colorado Supermoto, Supermoto Quebec, Supermoto East Coast, doing what they can to help grow the sport, envision a bigger picture. We're going to go ahead and do the NAS Futures. Second place was Israel Ravazos. First place, Eli Engstrom. So we had apparently some sort of a shipping debacle with first place only. We've got to locate them. We will send them to the winner. We just need an address. Some swag from KTM they kicked in. Appreciate it. Way to go, buddy. Yeah,
There's no motor in it. It's light now.
yeah, make yourself useful, yo.
Come on, Richard.
Alright, next up we're going to do Asphalt. Open Asphalt. So Nathan Bands, Anthony Franco, and Andrew Millier. Bring your bikes on up. Put them on the box. Your podium picks. Before it snows. That would be Asphalt. We had in 12th, Hayden Bird. 11th, Renee Franco. 10th, again, Hank Armstrong. 9th, Kevin Cartillo. 8th, Jacob Randall. 7th, Jan Borsier. 6th, Nathan Jr. Orion. Dimitri Gunner, 5th. Michael Bouchon in 4th. Nathan Vans in 3rd. Yeah, buddy. Anthony Franco in 2nd. And Andrew Millier in 3rd.
That couple good runs out there, JC. A couple good runs out there. Huh? Frozen, wet.
Amateur. Liz Penny in 7th. George Jones in 6th. Christopher Anderson in 5th. David Whitman in 4th. 3rd place, John Mercier.
Bullshit!
Daughters!
Over la wire! Ah, je sais qu'il y a des balles pas. C'est correct!
Yo, Donnie, like scoot that way a little bit so we can get the Colorado over. Like scoot that way a little bit.
Woo! Never mind.
There they are. Boom.
All right, give it up.
All right, what's up, Jack? All right. Envoie les papiers, bonsoir les papiers. Yeah. Let's see. Mike's helping him. He looks like he needs a hand.
Rough play, Sergio Di Perfetta.
Awesome.
11th place, Ken Armstrong. 10th, Kevin Garcia. 9th, Sam Lakis. 8th, Andy Gauchy. 7th, Jacob Randall. 6th, John Borsier. 5th, Nelson Florian. 4th, Dimitri Goddard. 3rd, J.C. Bernier. 2nd, Michael Mouchon. And 1st, Anthony Franco.
I'm riding with Mike.
Oh, yeah. Well,
I'm going to see if I can get anything.
Oblivious.
nobody's going to Arizona next week. I'll have pneumonia.
Just pretend it's hot. Pretend it's 90 degrees. Like.
Woo! Yeah, look at Franco!
Franco out of retirement.
first place.
Build
Fresh
your
off
own
the
motorcycle.
couch.
Build your bear.
You guys can't hang out.
He said, ready to Big first place. Woo! They need It ain't you, bro. It ain't this too, bro.
Alright, so roll light.
Now it's doing Yeah, I know.
Roll light. 7th place was Steve Ingram. 6th place, Brandon Kinsey. 5th place, Sam Lakis. 4th place, Ryan Sam. 3rd place, Sergio Di Monfetta.
Sergio, you want me, bitch?
Jacob Randall. And in 1st place, Buff Daddy Charlie Buffalo.
Woo! Nugget!
Part of the Pro Purse, Kenny Troxel is raising donations. So there's a little extra purse from the donations that Kenny was able to raise for the purse. So thank you, Kenny. Hell yeah, Kenny. Kenny's been doing the ride-up every week on the Supermoto Racer. Kenny's Slide. You can see it on, I think they gave him a column on Supermoto Racer magazine. So, it's normal. Dawson Scheifer. 5th place, Andrew Millier. 4th place, Timmy V. 3rd place, Butters, Sean Butterman. Good job. 2nd place, Shane Arbone. Good job. And 1st place, Jake LaForge. Again, thank you all for coming out. Weather conditions. All of you are. I got that video. Oh, right behind him. Just get yourself right to the launch. Now, we're going to find out who traveled the most miles to get here.
1,680.
How many miles?
1,680.
Cascadian, where you at?
Shane. Shane, how many miles you drive to get here? How many miles?
For the race?
How many miles?
Is that your resident?
Yeah, he didn't drive.
Switzerland.
Canada might be better.
He's pulling the.
So you flew in from Switzerland for this?
Yeah! That's not driving.
KTM.
Thanks for coming.
All right. We appreciate your support. Safe travels to everyone. Thank Toxic Moto, Cascadian Supermoto, Colorado Supermoto, Supermoto Quebec, Supermoto East Coast, and every one of you for making this event what it was. Let's build it from here.
Better weather next week. I'll get a heater installed for next year.
Là, c'est bon. Là, c'est bon.
Pro Moto Quebec. Okay. Yeah! C'est qui le meilleur? Ok, un dernier. Attendez, bougez pas. on Facebook and Instagram.